Hey, you guys, good morning. This is Shannon with For Humanities. And this morning, of course, as you can see, it is Bright Idea Monday. So, for a Bright Idea Monday, we are going to be talking to you guys about bright ideas. And for those of you guys who have them, so I'm sure all of you guys have them. So, let's actually figure out how we're going to use them. So every morning, we will definitely come here with you to you on different subject matters. Mondays is Bright Ideas, Tuesdays is Tuesday Teas, Wednesdays and women is Women in Alignment, Wednesdays, Thursdays is Sponsor the Big Cup Thursday, and that's what we do here on our regular basis. Then we have Saturday, which is Shout Out Saturday, and we have PSA Sunday. That is our all public service announcements for just, everything all around. So I thank all of you guys for coming. It is 7:58, so we won't be long. We'll probably roll a little bit over into like 8:15 and or 8:10. But wanted to just come here, talk to you guys about bright ideas. As you guys know, that's where you come. You come here when you want to think about some bright ideas, things that you probably are thinking about, but you haven't really figured out how to make them happen. Or there's sometimes we'll have ideas where we don't think that they're good ideas, or we won't do them because we're nervous, or we are a little hesitant in the sense of we don't know if we should jump right on into it. Or, we get a little sidetracked because somebody else may come up with an idea that's similar, but we feel that since they are the one out of billions of people in the world to come up with an idea that's close to yours, that we would just stop right there and say, well, why should I even do that when there's other people who are doing it? Why should you breathe when there's other people doing that too? So, because it's necessary. That's how you want to look at. So, whenever you're finding a moment in time that you're trying to figure out why should you do something because there's other people doing it, just say to yourself, why should I eat when there's other people doing it? Why should I go to, church or the grocery store or something to that degree when there's other people doing it? So keep those things in mind when we are thinking about uh, hesitating and not making a decision to go ahead and execute when we know what we're thinking of is our idea, but it definitely is worthy to be identified and listed. So those are things that you want to just tell yourself when you're thinking about hesitating, because we all know that hesitation is part of fear, and fear is a part of doubt, and all of those things are just not of God, and we don't want to think of that way and be in that way of doing things. So when we talk about bright ideas, let's just jump right on into it. Now, when we think on the idea and the bright idea concept, you definitely want to think of something that you're good at, that it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. And those are usually the things that we put to the side and say, those are no big deal. Now, when you say something that you say it's no big deal, well, there are plenty of people who are out there that may think what your no big deal is such a big deal because they're not able to do it. There's someone, as we know, that would wish they could learn and know what you're doing because they already have the drive, they already have the motivation. Hey, Natasha, they already have the focus on doing what it is that you find to be just no big deal. If you could take your talent and someone else's drive and you put them together, you will have a multi-billion-dollar company. Because when you have talent and you have knowledge and understanding, you put those two together, and then that is how a lot of companies have been very successful, because they have managed to put these things together. And sometimes, as we all know, that, you know, you can have the great skill, but you know that there's areas that you are not that great in, that you really need to lend it to someone else who's good at that. I've already said it. Y'all heard it. We don't have to drill it in, but you can, you know, press the replay if you want to go back and listen. But those are the things that we, as everybody, all of us, me, we, them, we do that. And because we're, you know, operating, actually, if you guys know and read the book, you're operating in that realm of poverty mindset. And that's just how it is. Being in poverty, for those of you guys, if you've ever been in poverty, which is most of people of color at some later time in life, we were rich before, but then our riches were taken from us. But here we are. If you were in a wealthier position, you may not understand this. But when you're coming from a poverty mindset, that poverty mindset doesn't go away just because you went and got $1 million or a couple $1,000,000. It doesn't. As you see, and we've seen the percentage of those who were winning the lotto, winning and getting and doing anything that rendered a high return on something, and they got really good payments for it, and now they're millionaires. It doesn't seem to matter that the fact that that's what you have, because what's going to happen is that if your poverty mindset is still there, you're going to still and continue. You're going to continue to be in a position where you are going right back to poverty. And you could end back up in poverty relatively quickly because of the mindset. That's what you want to look at. Because of the mindset, you can easily shift back into poverty. You can lose all the money that you've had because it's not built up in the way to continue to keep revenue coming. When you're in poverty, you're coming from a poverty mindset, and you're going to spend your money like poverty. And what that means is you're going to say to yourself, I don't have this, I don't have that, I've always wanted this, I've always wanted that. Regardless if that is, you know, doesn't make sense to even have. That's something you got to think about. Having a whole bunch of shoes, now, okay, I might step on some feet here, but having a whole bunch of shoes doesn't make sense to me. Now, if it makes sense to you, then it makes sense to you. And then that's where you're going to spend your money at. But I'm not going to do that. Those shoes are not investments. Now, some of you might say, well, I can take my shoes and I can sell them. Yeah, you sure can. The only shoes right now I know that really sell like that are Nikes. Nikes sell like that. Old vintage, old Nikes that people bought long time ago. There's some other little shoes that women wear, those high heel red bottom shoes that people wear. I don't know if those sell like that. I'm not in that zone. So I don't really know. But I would like to say, but I have no idea. But the thing is that we have to look at the fact of what we invest in our time and money in, and if it's worth that. But going back to this poverty thing, when you were in poverty, you always thought about those things. And when you saw other people have them and wear them, you were like, ooh, I want to have that. Then when you get money, the first thing you want to do is run to the store to go get some shoes. You want to get shoes to put on your feet that you don't use, that you don't go nowhere in, and you don't do nothing in. So that doesn't really work. So you sit with them and you look at them and you adorn them like idols. So that doesn't sound right either. So when you spend your money on those things, and then now you find yourself spending your money on everything that you see, because now has become, just out of greed and gluttony. Like, oh, because I can, I will. And that's not right either. That's not how you sustain wealth. You don't sustain wealth by buying things like that the return on them are not as high on the investment scheme of things. So when we talk about bright ideas, because this is not a financial broadcast here right now, but we were talking about bright ideas, and we're talking about poverty, and we're talking about getting those ideas out. But you got to keep in mind that your idea is just the same as anyone's. You can't sit and say just because you can't, you're not doing it, that nobody else can. And it looks like Haps done went crazy again. So let's just push this up right here, and then everything then came on. So okay, here we go again. So we're gonna undo some of this stuff here, because it just seems to just want to click on when it feels like it. But we want to keep in mind that just because you're the one who's doing it, and just because someone else has done it just recently, doesn't mean that you can't do it too. So keep in mind that you can do things as well as just like anybody. Oh, I know, huh? You can do things just like anybody else can. That's what you want to do. So we're going to take all of those things off, because it's kind of doing whatever it wants to do. So we want to think about the fact that you can do it. Don't worry about whatever somebody else is doing. You do what you're going to do. Make it happen. If you thought about it, then you need to produce it, and not crazy stuff. So don't get it twisted. Now, if you've thought about that idea, then it's worthy of you taking the time to look into it, to plan it, and to make it happen. So we're going to leave you guys with that. Again, this is My Bright Idea. You guys see the link above right here. If you'd like to have a discussion and a consultation, please go to this link, bit.ly/My Bright Idea, and we can talk. I am believing that the scheduler is available for you to schedule your time in. And we have like a couple of sessions that we do. We have I have 5 spots for the first session, which is one that is $45. And then if you plan on doing more of a week's period, then you can, a 4-week period, then you can check into that one as well. So thank all of you guys for being here. I will see you guys tonight for My Bright Idea Monday after dark. And go by and check out those new t-shirts we got at Fundraising for Good, bit.ly/fundraising for good. So thank all of you guys for being here. Y'all have a wonderful morning.